Hey everyone, welcome back to the part 2 of building a public forum with React, NextJS, and then firebase. Right? So in this video, I would like to continue on with what we're doing previously. Trying to resolve this firebase sending us all the data, all the new posts that others have made whenever we reload whenever there is a new post from somewhere, right? And also we'll be adding another feature for creating some kind of like a thread or something like that. Like, so when you go to a post, so if I come to this post by David and click on it, I go to a different page in which on that page I get all the posts, all the discussions relating to that particular post, right? Forum or whatever it is, right? Okay, so let's get to it, right? But first and foremost, what I would like to do is to attach an IDs to each of the posts, right? So currently there is no ID attached to any of the posts, but we can attach an ID to it because Firebase always adds an ID to any documents that you add to the Firestore, right? So we can easily use that to our advantage, right? And we could get that, let's see, so probably from here I think, so change that, so we have the document, and then you can see over here there is an ID field, right, which is what, a string. So you can use that as the ID for the document themselves, right? So let me add the ID. So it's just a property, it's not a function that we have to call, so we just do an ID, right? So the data is just alias and post, right? But now I want to add an ID to it as well, but we don't want to add that ID to when we are actually adding the post from the users field over here, right? You don't want to add the ID from there, right? So we need to do either two things, right? Create a new interface for the post to add a new interface to add a post, or reuse the same post and then use some of TypeScript's helper functions, whatever they are, to try and omit some of the fields in it. So I'm going to add that. Let's say we have ID, so it will be a string, right? So we have an ID. Then over here, right, so in the post, we just simply do, so omit, right? So we are telling TypeScript that I want to omit certain properties inside the post, and what we want to omit is what, the ID, right? So you can see that TypeScript is no longer what's complaining. That's nice. Okay, right? So now we need to add the ID to this as well, right? So we have a post. So there's a single document that is being added, or concatenating it with the old post, right? Because it comes in for every single word change, right? So we can simply just do, oops, shouldn't have done that. Get this, and let's do, we have an ID of change doc dot ID, right? And then we simply do this change doc.data, right? And over here is complaining about the data not being of a particular format. That's the alias and post. We don't really care about that, so let's get rid of it. So we can say this is as in, or you can say as post, any of them. Let's say it's as post, right? So now we can add, so now we've added that ID to each of the fields, right? And then we can access it over here. So let's output the ID. So post.id. Let's save that. Alright, so you can see this weird bunch of words that we have here. Those are the IDs for each of the fields, right? And this won't be a problem, right? So it's adding on to the old existing word post, right? We don't want that. So over here, instead of adding it to the old post, we are going to create a set of objects, an array in which we are going to store all the new post inside of it, right? And then afterwards we just set it to the post, right? Okay, so let's see over here. So for each, so before the for each, we are going to do new posts, right? So you have a new post. Then so over here, instead of using the set post, we are simply just going to say new post dot push. So we want to push in a new set of post. I'm just going to copy this and then paste that in there. Get rid of this. So remove that for now, right? And then we have new post added. So when all that is done, we simply just do set post, right? So set post, and then we add new post, right? Let's do that. Let's save that. Okay. All right. Let's save that. So I should have gotten rid of our old post. That's nice. Very awesome, right? So now let's get rid of the ID, and then let's use the ID as the key for each of the posts, because now we have an ID. We don't really need the to children.toArray, a function that React provides for us, right? So simply just add a key, post.id. And the reason for this is because the ID is unique, right? The ID is unique, so it will make each of the elements in the array unique as well. And also eliminates a lot of code that we write inside it, right? Okay. So let's save that. So we've gotten rid of the ID. That's nice. Awesome. Alright, so now the next thing that I would like to do is, instead of showing the form here, I'll have a button somewhere on the page in which when you click, then you can add, so as some sort of a pop-up will show up where you can add your post to it, right? And also maybe you could find a way to store the alias as well, but who knows, maybe we'll get to that later on, right? So let's do that for now, right? Okay. So going to create a simple state over here to say that react.use state, right? And let's say false, right? So open, let me call it open what post, and set open post. Yeah, or maybe you could find a better name for this. I don't know, right? So open post, right? So let's have open command open post, right? So if open post is true, we want the form to show. If not, we don't want anything to show. So we get that, paste that in there, save that, and the form should disappear, right? So now the form has disappeared. All you need to do is just have a button on the page. Let me add it to the top here. We'll call it so it's a simple button in which I'm going to say that is add post. Nice. And when we click on the add post, so on click, you just set open post to true. Quite awesome. So we set open post to true, we save that. So the button should show up over here. So add post. So we click on add post. The post shows up, right? And yeah. If we want to close that, if we want to close this form, is whenever we successfully post, where the form should be cleared as well, right? So let's say over here, so set, right? So handle submit, right? So I'm going to use the asynchronous function here. So let's say await, right? Maybe this one could throw an error and we are not catching it, so that could be problematic, right? So let's do a try catch. So usually when you are using the asynchronous functions, you most of the times use a try catch block to handle any kind of errors that happens, right? So it doesn't crash your application along the line, right? So let me first complete the try. So when this post is successful, all we want to do is hi Alvin, welcome. What I want to do here is to simply set open post to false, and as well as, so let's say we set it to false, and then we also want to clear the post field as well, because when we submit, the field, what we've entered will still be there, but I want to also keep the alias there, right? So let's say post and then set values, right? So we are going to do the set values over here. We have set values, and then we simply just want to just overwrite this, not the alias, right? So we are just going to get the old values. Let's see, let me just do values, and then just return back the values, right? So of course we are dealing with an object and state. Let's turn back the values and then set the post that we have here to an empty string, and that should take care of that. Right? Now for the catch, for the error part, so if something happens and we are not able to post, we want to give the user some sort of feedback, right? So let's say some notification kind of thing. give them a notification and tell them that you are not able to post, right? So um, we could do that by creating another component, which that one has its own state and something like that, right? So instead of me going to create a component here, which will make this page way too long, I would rather want to create um, yeah, I would like to create a components folder where I can store all those generic kind of components inside, right? So I'm going to go outside of pages and create a folder called shared, right? Or common, let's say it's common, right? We want the stuff to be common to everyone, right? So common stuff. So anything that's in common means that it can be shared to others, right? So common, then we have what? Components, right? And the reason why I'm not placing these components inside a pages folder is that uh, NextJS, anything that you place in the pages folder will automatically be accessible uh, by on the web page, right? So if I were to create some kind of test files or uh, kind of like normal JS files or something like that and place them in the pages folder, when you navigate to that particular file, when you enter the URL of that file, Next.js will be able to get access that for you, right? Which can lead to a lot of problems. So all we want is just not to have those kind of pages of files in there, but only pages that we want people to access. For example, this index page where you just go to the website, you have a bunch of forums ongoing, and then anybody can just do whatever they want from that page, right? Not some hidden files and stuff like that, right? So moving on, so we have the components. Then I'll create a new file called let's say an error notification or something like so TSX. So error notification. Yeah, I think I'll go for error notification. That's much cleaner. Right, so error notification, right? So export default function error notification. Whoa. Let me see. Having some troubles here. Okay, right. Okay, instead of me writing all that, I'm just going to use one of a VS Code set extension to create components, right? And I'm using the ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native snippets to create the components, which will make my development hell of a lot faster, right? Okay, so we have error notification. Then we want a context cannot post forum or cannot post. I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with a better error notification later on, right? So error notification cannot post. Awesome, right? So we have our components, error notification. So I'll come back to the index page. I wonder why my VS Code doesn't have tabs. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right? Then I would like to place the error notification here. Right. So add my error notification, and then bam. But the error notification will show up here, which is not what we want. Right? Look at that. Cannot post. It doesn't make sense, right? Because we've not done anything. You are telling the user that he cannot post. It doesn't make sense, right? So what I would want to do now is to hide this right? And then whatever action that I take that causes said error, then I'll show this error, right? So let's go back to the error notification and then have some kind of state action or something like that, right? Or um, instead of a state action, want to use the context, React context, right? So we create a context and then have the error notification to access that set context and then make use of it wherever we want to, right? Okay. So let me go to common and create a folder called context. Oops. Context. And let me have this one say an error provider CSX, or let's say rather instead of an error provider, let's say it's a notification provider. So it provides notification for your application, right? Yeah. Awesome. All right. And so you're going to have, so let's do an export, right, of the context itself. So let's say it's a notification context, right? Then we create the context from React, and using VS Code, it can automatically import React for you. That's awesome, right? You have React.create context, and it expects an argument. I'm just going to provide it with an empty object. So we have our notification context. Then I want to create the provider of this context, right? Because that's our React context where they need a provider, right? So export, I think React snippets might have some. Yeah, let's do this. All right. So we have notification provider. That's nice. So you have notification provider, and instead of a div, you are going to do a notification context and provider. Right now, provider expects a value prop, right? So we pass in an object for that prop. Then inside here, we want the children, right? So let's see here. So this provider won't take in any props, right? But it requires what the children, right? So I'm going to use React children props with children, right? So what this is simply just going to add the children prop to your props interface if you have any, right? So in this case I don't have, so I'm just passing a simple object, and then I'm having what, children. So we have children in here, and then passing what, children, right? So we can make use of the notification provider and passing any amount of children in here. So we have children. Okay. All right. Sorry for that. Okay. So we have the provider. Now I also want to create a hook with this context, right? So I can easily make use of it in any of the components, and rather having to pass in the context and then the React use context hook and all that, right? So I'm just going to do export function. I like using functions instead of the arrow function, simply because just typing in function for me is nice and it makes it a little bit more readable for non-experienced coders, right? So use notification, right? Oh, sorry, having these problems here and there. All right, so just going to create context, context, then use react dot use context, create a context, and then pass in what the notification context, right? And then simply just return the context, right? Oh, very, very simple here, right? And maybe in the near future I might use firebase notifications in here, right? Or here or somewhere, anyway, right? So now in the next thing I also want to do is I want, so as we saw here, right, in this page, right? So when an error happens, we want to send in that error to the error notification that we have now here, right? We want to send it to it, right? And we can do that by passing in some values over to this provider and then having it access this notification hook, right? So I want to create a function, right? It's called show notification, right? So I have a function called show notification, and then you can pass in set of what values, right? A set of values. So let's say, so what kind of values do we want to pass in? So first we need what, a message, right? So what message do you want to show to what the person or to the user, right? So we have message. Then the next thing we want to also state is what type of notification is this? Because along the line we would like to provide more what various types of notifications. One for warning, one for success, like something was successful or something, and another could be an information, something that's occurring somewhere that you are getting a notification of it, right? Yes, so we can do that. So we want to say type, right? And for now we just have an error, so I'm just going to say we have an error type, right? Or let's add the success to it right now, right? And the next, what other thing do I also want to provide to all my notifications, right, is the duration, right? So how long do you want this notification to show? Should it be a long type of notification or a very short one? And for example, when it comes to something like errors, right, you want the notification to last a little bit longer, simply because so that the person can know that this thing happened or know what actually caused that for it to what, for that error to occur, right? So we want to also give the duration, and duration is just a number, right? Okay, now we have 3 parameters passed to this notification object. It's always advisable to limit the parameters you pass to a function to at most 3, right? Simply because for readability or maintainability. If you have like 100, or 100 is too much, let's say you have 10 parameters being passed to a function, you probably will not even understand what most of them are doing, right? So in order to combat a situation like that, we would rather use what, an object in place of passing in all those multiple what parameters, right? So in this case, that's what I'm going to use, because there may be an instance where I might have to pass in a lot more information to the notification than just what, these 3 parameters, right? So I'm going to convert all these parameters to an object that will be accessible to others, right? So sorry, so I'm going to create an interface, right? Notification, right? And a notification what interface, right? And just grab all that I've passed in here and then paste it here, right? And I'll say we have a notification which is of type notification, right? Okay, so you have the notification what interface. Let me make this a little bit spacious, right? So we have the message type and duration, and maybe along the line we want to what, add more, right? Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is provide these things to the context, right? Or provide this notification object to the context, right? And you could do that using what, state, right? Or React state hook, right? So you can have a state React.use state, and then we want this state to be of the type notification, right? Because that's what we want to be pass. This type is what we want to pass to all our notifications, right? Okay, so it should be of a type notification, and you can provide the default values for this, or in my case I'm just going to provide a null value, right? This is simply to tell all the notifications that there is no data available for you to show yet, right? So yeah, that's the reason why. So if a notification comes in, bam, we just there's data in there, right? So the initial value will be what, a null object, right? Okay, I don't want to conflict this with this, so oops, I'm going to change this to arguments, right? So args, and then over here we say it's a notification. Damn. So notification, then we want to set the notification, right? So set notification. Okay. So show notifications, we over here we just simply say set notification, then passing what, oops, the arguments, right? Set notification, then arguments, right? So now in the context over here, so we need to pass in this notification and then show notification, right? So let's see, notification and then show notification, right? Right. So now we've passed in these values over here. It will work in a normal sense, but in TypeScript we are not going to get the IntelliSense that we expect, because because we are using what, TypeScript, right? Simply because it's an empty object that you're passing here, and here is noticing that it's an object, all right, but it doesn't really care of what's inside what the object, which is not what we want. So we want to pass in these. We want to tell context of these types that we have here, right? So I'm going to create another interface, say a notification, let me just grab this notification context type something. So we have the context type, and then we're going to specify that we have a notification which is of the notification type. Then we have sorry, Then we have the function show notification, right? So show notification, and then which is a function that doesn't return anything, right? But it takes in what? A notification object, right? Now we just simply need to tell context about it, right? Okay. Yes. Now over here is stating that the parameter blah 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 is anyway. It's TypeScript is just telling us that the object that we've passed towards the create context is not of the type notification context type. Oops. Yeah. So you can read all that bullshit. Sorry, all that stuff over here, right? So, in order to like tell TypeScript that I don't really care what the initial value is, I just want you to not worry me, is I can pass in an empty object, or I can do something like this: undefined as any, or let's see here. So you can pass in undefined, right? And TypeScript will not complain, but it will give you the intelligence of the context, right? So over here you can even check the context and see that the context is of what? The notification type, of the notification context type. Yeah, probably you should find a better name for this, but I'm not going to worry about that right now, right? Okay. But there is a caveat here of using this defaults, of using this undefined, right? That is, if someone makes use of this use notification outside of the notification provider we have here, it will cause a problem, right? So in order to what? Ensure that the person makes use of this use notification inside the notification provider, we can simply check is if the type of context is equal to undefined, right? So if it's undefined, meaning that the value over here is, meaning that this use notification was used outside of the use of the notification provider, right? Then we are going to throw a new error, right? And we are throwing this error so that the one who makes use of this use notification will use it inside the context, inside the notification provider, right? So we throw a new error and tell the user that you cannot use let me see what is this use notification damn, oh come on, freedom something, cannot use notification cannot use notification outside the notification provider. And this will happen when and sorry come on, and this happens because when you use the use notification or this context inside the provider, it will always have this value that we have here, right? So this is just a check to ensure that people use the hook in the right sense. So let's prettify this and then let's save that, right? Okay, so let's go back to the index page, right? And we want to wrap this entire page inside the notification provider. Right, so we pass in the notification provider. Sorry about the red squiggly marks. I'm using an extension errorless extension from VS Code, right? So we pass in the use notification provider, right? And then over here, yes, okay. This thing is giving me a hard time. All right. So I'm going to show this use case, right? Use notification. So over here we are using the use notification hook outside of this provider, right? And if we save that, is definitely going to throw an error, right? So let's see that error in action. And yeah, so now yes, so you cannot use notification outside of the provider. Awesome, right? So how do we resolve this? Well, we can resolve this by making use of NextJS, a special component called app. What is this? App.tsx, right? So app.tsx is a unique file which contains a component in which NextJS is going to call that component at the beginning of your entire application. And the reason why I want to make use of this app, this underscore app, is so that we can place the notification provider component in there, and then we will not have to worry about using it. We don't have to worry about it anymore, right? We just use the hook whenever we feel like, right? Okay. So to do that, I would like to grab some types from NextJS, right? NextJS, I think it's /app, yeah. So NextJS provides us a bunch of types, right? So app props, I think app props is the way to go, right? So we are just going to export a default component, right? I'm just going to export a function, right? Or app, right? And then it takes in some props from app props, right? As you can see, right? And then it takes in what the component, the page props, router, blah blah blah, right? But we care about the component and the page props, right? So the component in this case would be what our index page, right? That's the component in here. And then the page props could be the various props that NextJS is passing toward that component, or it could be props that you yourself are passing it to it from somewhere, right? And yeah, so all that we are going to do is just return, right? Return the components, right? So you do component and then passing what? So it's simply just the spread page props. So we are just spreading whatever is in the page props to the components over here, right? So this is the beginning of whatever component or page that we are dealing with, right? Now I want to wrap this notification provider in there, right? Let me get rid of this one. Oh, come on. Some slight difficulties with my keyboard over here. I need to get it fixed. Alright, so let's get rid of that, and then let's have it here. Notification provider, and then grab this, paste that in there. Alright, so we have our notification provider. So we could save that, but nothing will happen because any change that we make to this particular component, we need to restart the entire NextJS server, right? So let's clear our console and then run dev. So the yarn dev is just going to start our NextJS server. So if I come back to the page and then reload, hopefully it should have fixed that issue. Yes, so you can see it has fixed our issue beautifully, right? So now I can close this component and not worry ourselves with it anymore, right? So now we can make use of this use notification anywhere inside our application, right? Cool, great. So instead of SNS, I'm going to do a show notification, right? So grab that. So inside the error, I would like to show the notification, right? And then pass in the various set of arguments, right? So duration, let's say in 10 seconds. So usually I'll do so 1,000 is a second. So if it's 1 second is equal to 1,000 what? This is a millisecond. So 1,000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second, right? So do 1,000 times 10, giving us 10 seconds, right? And then we have the message of cannot post, right? And then let's have the type of it being an error, right? So we have an error type, right? So show notification and blah blah blah, right? And if we do this, nothing would happen, right? Nothing would happen because the error notification is not accessing the context that we have in the use notification, right? So in order to do that, so we're going to go into the error notification, right? And then we are going to access the notification object inside of it, right? Let's say it's a notification, right? Okay, so now we have the notification, right? First, what I want to do is the notification type that of error. So triple. So if it's an error, oops. Sorry. So if it's an error, then what I'll simply do is just return the component here. So just return this. If not, I want to return no, right? Because this error notification is simply dealing with what? Errors. It doesn't care about what you want to pass in there, right? Then what do I want to show inside of it, right? So that's where we come to our notification dot message. So we want to show this message or whatever is in there, right? And now for the duration, right? The time of the duration, right? Right. For the duration is a set timeout, right? So we want to make use of set timeout. So after this time has elapsed, we want to get rid of this component, right? Okay. And for that, I'm going to use the use effect, right? Oops. The use effect. Now, the reason why I'm using a use effect for a set timeout is because set timeout is a side effect of your application, right? It's a side effect of your application. And for me, what I'll do is anything that deals with a side effect, I use them inside of what they use effects, right? Because that's from the documentation. That's what they say. Any side effects that your app is dealing with, most of the times you use them inside of what they use effect, right? So I have the set timeout, right? And then and set timeout takes in what? A function, right? And it returns nothing, right? and then say the duration will come in from what the notification dot duration, right? Yes, but we need to pass in this duration as a dependency here, simply because right now it will initialize it all right at when the component mounts, but any change that we make toward the use notification from the notification provider, it won't have access to that, right? So maybe if we change the time, it won't even get that, right? So yeah, we need to have this duration there. Okay. Right. So I'm going to do this, right? So usually what I would do is I like to pass in most of the time primitive data types, right? So numbers, strings, what other booleans, what to the dependency array instead of what an object like this, because the use affects the dependency array, right? When it's checking, when it's doing its check to see if there's any change in what the array, it doesn't properly check the contents of what an object, for example, like the normal JavaScript object or an array, right? So it could potentially re-render it multiple times, and we don't want that, right? So, but for primitive data types, it can just do that. It can make sure that the change is what's different before it can re-render or not, right? I'm sorry. Let's get the duration. So we have the duration, right? Okay, then let me get rid of this, right? So clear the duration, right? Now for inside of the set timeout, right? How do I dismiss the notification, right? So in order to dismiss any notification after the timeout has been called, is to have what is you access. So let me go to the use notification, right? Is to do the same thing as we have over here, right? Oh, forgot about this. I should have added an null this one, right? Right. So TypeScript is not concerned about the null values that we have in here, right? Because when we check the TS config, you will see that strict is set to what false, and that's not what I want, right? So we want to use true. Oh, come on. So we want to use true, right? We want to tell TypeScript that everything is important, right? Even null, undefined, they are all important, right? So let's save that, right? And let me close this. Now it should, oh, it's not even sending us out. Aha, yes. So now it's come back to this undefined types and all those stuff, right? We'll fix that later on, but for now let's focus on trying to dismiss notifications, right? So if I want to dismiss a notification, passing a function of what dismiss notification, right? So it's simply just a function that's just going to call set notification to null. Oops. And we have the dismiss notification. Add that as a type, as a value to the context provider. Then we also need to what? Set that here as well. So there's a notification, and it takes in nothing. It takes in nothing. Now we need to fix this issue that we have here, right? This undefined. So we could do that by simply just stating as any, right? So I don't really care what I pass in here. All I care about is what I'm accessing over here, right? Okay, so we have the notification. Oh, come on. Yeah. So that's what I care about. let's see. I usually don't like using any, so let's see what I could do here, right? So we have this undefined, right? Then over here we are passing in an object, but over here if it's undefined we throw. Therefore it means that when you're accessing this use notification, it definitely has some values, right? Okay, cool, nice, right? Since we are just going to be using this use notification and use provider, we don't need to access the context outside here. So let's get rid of that. Let's save that. Okay, awesome, right? So now we have this dismiss notification. I like to go to the error notification. Ooh, and you can see we have so many problems, right? Right, so let's start solving these one by one, right? So first is saying the property duration does not exist on type notification or null, right? Yeah, because of the null value, right? So if the value or whatever you're dealing with now, you can't destructure it, right? So you just need to use this new symbol, right? And this is a what is it called, optional chain operator, right? So if this has a value, it's going to access that value. If not, it's going to provide a null or undefined value to it, right? Okay, so now I want to get rid of the object here because now it's not necessary. So we pass in the duration and stuff, right? So that's fine. Now I want to also provide an optional like a default value to this duration as well, because it's now, right? Well, yeah, since it's now, we don't really need to provide any duration for it. So let's say, so if let me say type of duration. So if type of duration is a number, then we continue to do the set timeout, right? So this one can be a check to see that if there is a notification available, right? So if there is a notification available, then we continue and run this, right? Okay, now for the other options that we have, right? So in this case, so if the type is error, then over here we have the notification message, right? Now for inside of the set timeout, so once that is done, we want to dismiss the notification, right? So we pass on what dismiss notification, and then we call it, right? And since it's a single function, simply just do this, right? Yes, but we also want to have this add the dismiss notification to the dependency array, right? For obvious reasons, because so if any dependency changes, we want the dismiss notification to have access to what the latest state available, right? But there is a problem here too as well, right? The dismiss notification function that we have here is will be recreated every single time the component re-renders, right? Because we are just using the function, like we are creating a normal function, right? And for JavaScript closures and functions and stuff like that, so we always recreate these functions, right? Which is not what we want, right? So we want to cache this function that is created if there are no state updates. If there are state updates, then we want to recreate that function, right? And we can use React hooks in order to cache these functions, right? So the use callback, right? So the use callback can be used or should be used for cases like this, right? So anytime you are passing in a function to an effect, right? So a use effect or use layout effect, any of those effects, or being accessed as a dependency for a hook, you must need to what? Ensure that that function is not recreated every single time the components what re-renders, right? So let's save that. And so we've created a dismiss notification, a dismiss notification function, which is what? Simply just setting notification, right? So in here, right, I could now save that now, right? Aha. So you can see that the notification is gone, right? So let's check to see if that our message actually cannot post what article, forum, whatever. I don't know. Let's say you cannot post message. Please check your network, right? Okay, so let's save that. Okay. Ooh, right. So now we are having a few errors, TypeScript errors over here, right? So it doesn't know what type new post is, right? Because it's stating is an any type, right? And we've not told TypeScript about the implicit what values, whether I should check them or not, right? So in this case, quite simple to solve this issue, right? So you just type this, right? Whether it's an array of posts or something, right? Okay. So we save that, so cannot post message. Yes. So let's save this file, right? And I want to check to see that we actually have an error, right? So let me bring this down here, right? So I'm going to go to my network tab and then have an off, set everything as offline, right? Okay. So if we have everything offline, it means that when I add a post, right? So Derek, and then posting, right? So if I said post, oh, that's interesting. He added a post. Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. So what Firebase or Firebase Firestore did was so what we posted, what we added, it wasn't sent online, but it was stored locally, right? Okay, this is quite interesting. So when we come online, then to add it, right? So in this case, it's not really bothered about this online stuff, right? That's not good. We don't want that. Firebase have some stuff. Enable disable network. What's this? Disable network is it for this instance. It can be re-enabled via Firestore, blah blah blah. Any snapshot listeners will get calls or return results from cache, and any write operations will queue until network is restored. I see. That's very interesting. Oh, okay. Enable persistence. Well, that's unfortunate. But well, anyway, so let's go back. Let's reload the application. Right, so anyway, we'll find a way to show the notifications, right? Okay. Yeah, let's do this instead. So I'm going to copy this and then paste this here, right? So when we submit So this is just kind of a way to see that we are actually seeing errors, right? And let me close this. Add a post. Let's say it's from Derek. Right. Let me say Dave is a good game. Right. So let's post that. You cannot post message. Please check your network. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So you can see that our notifications are working. Right. So let's clear that. Okay. So this is what's happening. Right. This is very annoying. Our Firebase. Right. Okay. So what's happening is the first time we come to this application, it will fetch every post, right? Meaning that, and this check here is checking that all these posts are new, right? They were added. So it will fetch everything. But when we add a post, it's going to clear all these things because of the set post that we have, and then bring in what? The added one, which is very, very annoying, right? So I like to do something different out of this, right? So if we have post already is added, right? Then we simply just add a new post, like we concatenate the post. If not, then we set everything anew, right? Yeah. So let's get the old posts. Right. So if old post, well, actually you can just do this, right? Concatenate the new post, right? Oops. Yeah, because when a page loads for the first time, damn it, this thing is really annoying. This thing is all right. Let's cheese Firebase a little bit. Right. Oh, come on. All right. So React.use first, right? So I'm going to do something a little bit different, right? So I want to get all the posts first, right? So Firebase.firestore collection, then we have the posts, right? .get. So we want to get all the posts first, .then, right? Then say is it snapshot? Yes, snapshot. Then snapshot dot. So I want to do a for each of the documents, right? Doc, like how we're doing this, right? So doc dot. Yeah. So data exists, get blah blah blah, whatever. Right. So you just need the ID and the data, right? So I'm simply just going to create a post, right? The type of post is definitely post, right? So we create an object. We have an ID of doc.id, right? Then the rest of the data is simply, well, we don't want to override the data, so doc.data, right? As any, we hit as any. Okay, so we go to each of the documents, right? So new post, right? So it's a post type as an array, and then for each post that we create here, and do this, make it one, right? So new post, push, right? That post, right? So after all that's done, we simply set the post, right? The new post, right? So retrieve everything and then what? Add it, set everything. Now for the snapshot, I don't want this snapshot to run if there are no posts. But if there are posts, then we run this snapshot. Yeah. Okay. So simply just posts, right? So if okay. Instead of passing in the entire object of post, I'm just going to do this. Is post available, right? So do post dot length, right? And I just set it as a boolean, right? So if the length is 0, that means there are no posts, right? So it will be false. But if the length is more than 0 or 1, that means 1, 2, 3, whatever, that means there are posts available, right? So we pass in what posts available. Nope. Yeah. Right. So is post available, right? So if it's post available, so if there are no posts, then return. But if there are posts available, well, actually this one is kind of yeah, because this one will run once and this one will run when we've subscribed, right? So any new post that comes in, it grabs that. So, and for each post it has an ID. Okay, so you can check to see if that post already exists. If it exists, then we don't have to add it. If it does not exist, then we add it. Yeah, I think that would be the better solution here, right? Yeah. That would be the better solution, right? So on add, then do set posts, right? So we have posts, then do post dot reduce, right? Do I have to do a reduce? Because I want the original post, then the new post should be added, right? But yeah, so reduce, then we check to see if that new post come on, maybe make complicating this a little bit, but I want to check if this ID exists in these posts, right? So if that ID exists, then we don't add that post. But if the ID does not exist, then we add it. Yeah. Okay. So let me grab that. Just ignore this and say new post, right? Alright. So we have new post, right? So posts dot I just want to get the IDs, right? So map this is going to be very annoying because okay, let me better write this properly, right? So let's do this, right? So if nope, let me get the IDs, right? So post if post dot map then we just want the post.id, right? So that will provide us with a bunch of IDs, right? And check to see if actually I just do return IDs dot includes the new post ID. So if it includes that, we simply just ignore it and return the old post. If not, then we add the new post, right? And do just a concatenate with the new post. And ignore this, and we get rid of that. Yeah, I think this should do it, hopefully. But this function is kind of looking very awkward, right? So first we get all posts, right? We get all posts. Then after getting all the posts, we check to ensure that they are posts available, right? So if posts are available, then we would subscribe. If not, we just ignore, right? Yeah. If there are no posts, we don't subscribe to anything. Yeah. And this one is checking to see if it's actually a new post, right? So we save that, and hopefully we will not have too many. Yeah, awesome. So awesome, very nice, very nice, right? Very nice, right? Very good. But we've not handled the cases for when an error happens. For the subscription is, I don't really think it's a problem, but well, maybe on network issues, yeah. But for here, yeah, there most definitely will be an issue, right? All right, so let's do a catch. Right, so maybe a network error or something like that. So let's say reason. Right. So what's the reason for this thing happening? Right. So reason. What else? Whatever the reason is, right? So I'm simply just going to do this. Right. Show notifications. Paste that in there. So cannot post, so instead of cannot post a message, cannot retrieve posts, cannot retrieve posts, ensure you have network availability. Alright. So we have network availability. Maybe we could have a description, some sort of a metadata to the notification and add this reasoning, right? And then have the behind the scenes error notification handling this particular reason. But for now, let's not go into deep of that. Right? So let's save that. And as you can see there, we are reusing this show notification with almost identical types of properties, right? In a case like that, you will most of the times you just create a function, right? A function that handles most of these properties for you, and just passing that, right? Yeah, it will make things a whole lot easier, right? So let's go to use notification, and yeah, I can even create those functions here instead of creating them in notification provider, right? Because all it's going to do is just going to call this show notification or set notification, and it could eliminate all the multiple kind of functions that we are going to be passed to the provider. Right? So I think that would be a better solution, right? So I'll create a function here called show error notification, right? And all that I need is what? A message, which is what? String. Right? And oh yeah, all right. So just access the context, right? Then this show notification. Oh no, oops, why am I doing go? What's happening? Oh, but why is it asking that context is not of type? No. This shouldn't be the problem. Context, oh, okay. If context, so if there is no context, still telling me that this could possibly be undefined, and that's kind of annoying. Oh well, the type of is way better. Anyway, so we're just passing our objects. The duration, so I'm just simply going to copy everything that I have here and paste that in here, and then change the message, right? So just get rid of this. Now I can add show notification to it. Ooh, I see. Okay. Alright, that's cool, interesting. So show error notification. Oh, come on. Alright. They have show error notification. But we will be accessing this error notification in some of the hooks, which, so in order to fix that, simply get whoa, this is it. Okay, let me just grab this, paste that in here. Use callback, so it will be a callback, right? Passing this one, and we are accessing context here. Damn it. So all I need to do is pass in the show notification. Anyway, that is also a function being created. Yeah, well, whatever. So to show notification, be able to there's a show notification. Kind of making this way too complicated than it should be, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh yeah, I think you can do this. Right. Yeah, I'm making this way too complicated. So let me just ignore that fact and then do this. Save that. So I have a show error notification, paste that in here, and then get rid of all this. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Right, so let's change that in here. Awesome. Now we just grab that and paste that in here. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Right. Awesome. The show error notification. Nice. So we have a much cleaner solution right here. a much cleaner way of showing notifications. Okay. And also one thing I also would like to do is to add this error notification to the root of the application, right? Which is the app. What? For this work, I'm not entirely sure though. But let's see. So I save that, and yeah, I'll have to restart the application again. I have an unsaved file. Right, this one. Okay, let's start it again. Awesome. So reload that. And hopefully we do get our notifications, our error notification working. All right. It's loading in. Compiled nicely. Nice. Okay, so if I were to add another notification, so let's say I want to throw an error, okay, obviously, or let's see, such as message posted, right, by to be an error, right? Okay, so let's say Moses posted, right? So let's add that. Nice. So it showed our success message posted, and it closed that. That's awesome. So after 10 seconds, I can see that the message is gone. That's super nice, right? But we want to try and add these new messages at the top instead of at the bottom, right? So which is quite simple to do that. You can use a post dots on shifts, right? So it inserts new elements at the start of an array and returns the new length of the array. Oh no, we don't want to. I think on shift actually mutates the data. Yeah, it does. We don't want that. We don't want that. So so you can simply do this, like create a new array, make a new post, right, and then pass in the post. This come on TypeScript. The post is not that, so let's type all right, let's type this. So as post, an array of post, yeah. So we add, so the new post will always be added to the top, but the post is over here. That's weird. So let's reload. So we get all our posts, and let me add a new post, right? And let's say this is from St. John again, and saying what the I'm doing what is going on quite well here, obviously. Alright, obvious. No, can't spell today. So I make a post, clears that. Nice. So it's added beautifully, right? And yeah, but as you can see, if I reload, you can see this awkward thing happening, right? That's the time, right? The time. I don't know. Let's see. I think we can do order by that, don't we? Creates and returns a new query that's additionally stored by the specified field, optionally in descending order instead of ascending. Oh, so it's asking for a field path, but we don't have we've not actually specified a field path or anything like that. Oh boy, this would be tricky. Okay, so we can specify a field path. Uh, so we can add this created at, right? And the direction would be this first one. So descending, right? But it was still something quite interesting I found here. So firebase, firestore. Does it have some timestamp or something? Yeah, timestamp representation point, blah blah blah. Field path. Ooh. No. I saw this field path. Come on. So firestore field path. Well, I don't know. Timestamp. I don't have a timestamp. From dates now, blah blah blah, whatever. Ooh. I think we can actually make use of this, right? Yeah. To create the created at, right? So when we add a new post, we want to add, let me get rid of this, right? Created at, which will be a firebase timestamp. Let me change this to an object. We have another object here and get the values, right? Yeah, but I don't know, since we don't have the created at yet, I wonder what firebase would do. So let's reload. Well, it didn't actually do anything, right? But if I were to add a new post, and let's say it's from let's see, it's from Mariam. This is, I'm posting here, guys. Let's see. So we add a post. It's added successfully. So let's see. Let's reload the page, and hopefully Mariam should be at the top. Yeah, Mariam was at the top. Yeah. So all other posts didn't have the created app, right? So it's kind of messing it up. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the database, right, as quickly as possible. And yeah, let's delete a collection. Let's delete it real quick. All right, now let's add a post, right? So you should have only a single post, right? My alias, right? A new post for everyone. Yeah. All right, so make the post. So I've deleted the collection, and we should have a single. That's interesting. Right, so we should have only a single collection. Yeah. So if I had to add another post from my alias 2 and says it is new, I made a post, you can see it is new here, right? So if I reload, yeah, so it's working. So if I had created that, right, so always the new post will come first. That's nice, right? And we are not actually interested in the created that being added to the data, but could be useful. Yes, so when you are showing the data, yeah. So let's add a created at, and that will require us to make a change to this one. So let's but I'm really not sure what kind of created. Will it be a string, a number? Let's check and see. It will be a timestamp, which I have no idea what that is. Right. So anyway, let's forget about that. Okay. Well. Okay. So the next thing that I will want to do next is when I click on a post, I want it to navigate me to a different page which has the post over there and all other posts related to that post, right? Yeah. And all right, so but first let's try and beautify this page a little bit. It's kind of it's way too ugly, right? Way too ugly for anyone's liking, right? So I would like to use styled components, right? Styled components, which is, oh no, damn it. Yeah, anyway, this is styled components. Well, it's very good. It's what a very good library towards style your applications, right? So let me go to the NextJS examples, wherever it is, and then I'm going to let's see. Let's look for styled components right there. Oops. Styled components. Yeah, nice. Here we go. Styled components. That's very awesome, right? That's neat. So this. So usually what I would do, what I like to do with NextJS is they have a bunch of examples, right? So I just come in here and then copy the examples that they have and then make use of it in the project itself, right? Okay, so they have a bubble RC. So let's first let me stop the server because most definitely there will be some changes. So bubble RC, and then paste in the configurations, right? So I go to the package.json, and usually there will be some stuff that we have to install, right? What is this React is? Anyway, that's not my focus, right? So first we need to install styled components, right? And when that's done, I would like to add for the dev dependencies, right? Add types, just styled components. Then we want to also add a bubble plugin, as it's written there, styled components, right? And I'm adding the types here because we are using TypeScript, right? Let's run that, and now let's check inside the repository to see if there are any more configurations that's needed to be done, right? Okay, Oh, so it have a document.js as well, right? That's interesting. But let's tackle the app.js file first. All right, so some global styles, some themes, and theme provider, and a global style, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we can do that. We can definitely do that, right? We can have some very basic kind of components, right? And I'm going to build this application from a mobile kind of point of view, right? So that means the application will be designed, or it's a responsive application, right? Yeah. So even on mobile phones, it's going to look just as good as a big website or something like that. Yeah, or a desktop computer, anything like that. So let's grab this stuff. So I will grab that. Let's go to app.jsx. Ooh, oh come on! What is happening? Right, so let's get that. What the heck? Let's paste that in there. Create global style. That's nice. And that's global style. And a theme provider by style components, right? So if we want to provide some theme, right? Yeah, I would like to have some theme, especially surrounding the colors, right? The colors. Okay, so let me create some basic theme here. No, no. I'd like to be organized a bit more, so I'll go to the common. Let's move this global style to the common, right? So common, then we could have a folder called style themes, right? So themes, and then I could have a new file for the global style .ts. Right? It's just a simple file. Like, create a global style, and then we export that. Let's import this. So we import that. We save that, and then let's create our theme and themes. Yes. And we like to do a dark theme and a light theme, right? But I'm gonna go with the dark theme first because that's cool, right? So let's see. Should I export? So okay. So I have a constant and I have themes, right? Or theme. Then I have a dark theme. Let's do this. No. Let's do a dark, which will be an object, and a light, which will also be an object. But yeah, that should do it. Okay. So I have the theme. Why don't I rather create this as a JSX? Let's go theme. Let's call it an app theme. The TSX, because I would like to place the provider in here so I can access the theme directly. Right. So you have the dark and the light. This is not Star Wars, so that's what default function app theme. So you have the app theme. Then it's going to return the theme provider from style components. Right. Then we pass in the theme of whatever that is, which would be our theme here. Right. Come on. But um I would like to also uh, do some few things too as well, right? So we have the theme, but we need something that would change the theme, right? Yeah, but anyway, I'll do that later, right? So um, let's say right now I'm just going to color theme, right? So let's do color theme. Right now I'm just going to access the dark theme, right? Because dark theme is nice, right? So then theme up, so you say color theme, right? And we are going to do the same thing as we had before. Right, so React, props with children, no children, then children, right? Then here we have children. Nice. So app theme, then we provide the children inside. Okay. And let's also pass in the global style as well, right? Global style as well. Maybe the global style wants to access some themes. Yeah. And so let's put that at the very top of the component tree, the app theme. Get that. And save that. Awesome. So we have our app theme. Okay. That should do it. Now for the other file, which is what the document. So the document is also a special file that NextJS makes use of. Usually to set up your entire document, your entire website, or the various headers and scripts and stuff like that that needs, you have all that in here, right? So I'm not going to bother myself much what's going on here. I'm just going to copy everything, create a new file, and then paste that in there, right? So document, in this case it will just be a document.tsx, right? Paste everything in there and fix all the TypeScript stuff, right? What is this? Oh yeah. Okay, so let's fix some TypeScript stuff. Oh, come on. So document context, that's thinned out, that's what it needs. Document context, nice. That's fixed all our issues, real nice. Alright, that's cool. Any other changes that we need to do here? Let's check index.ts. Okay, then we just go ahead and then create our style components. That's nice, right? And let's close all this up. The theme, the dark color, blah, blah, blah. Right, so we have this. There's our plugin. Okay, so let's go back to the page and let's run the server. All right, the server is running, no errors so far, and hopefully we don't get any. No errors. Okay, very nice. All right, so configuration loaded beautifully. What the? Loaded it twice. That's interesting. Okay. This doesn't happen. What is it trying to do? Whoa, has way too many external configurations loaded. That's way too many. All right, but hopefully everything is compiled successfully, so yeah, it should work. It should work. Come on, stop being so slow. Nice. All right, nice. So as you can see, our styles are being applied neatly, right? Okay. So let's start with a few changes. Oh no, not there. All right. I don't want to worry myself with the notifications now, or even the provider. Right. I just want to go into the app theme and then add some themes, right? So that theme. So first we want some standard colors, right? So the main background of the entire application. So let's create some standard background, right? So we have some background colors. Then we also need some text colors, or let's say font. Let's say font. Yeah. So theme. So you come to a theme dot background dot font. Or which one would be nice? Hello Edmond, how's it going? Right. So we have let's say text is more descriptive, right? Yeah, text is more descriptive. Everybody likes text, right? Let's copy that, and also let's give that to the light theme, but we are not going to add any colors to it right now. Right, so background, then we have let's do it this way. Every main color has some subset colors, right? So let's say background, then we have primary, right? So we come to primary, then we have the light version, the dark version, right? So we have a light primary and a dark primary. And maybe you could have a medium in between, like a medium in between colors, right? Okay. You have the light, dark, and medium. Nice. Now we have to define we need to get these various colors, right? So dark will be very deep, light very light, medium grayish. All right, so let's inspect nope, let's rather use some kind of color picker. Let's go and pick some colors. I wonder what this is. This is also a color picker. It's giving me quite a bit of information. Let's use this, right? So let's get a light version of our background. Usually I'll just go with a very, 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 very dark color. Right. So let's put the baseline. Oh, sorry. There's a hexadecimal, so we put the hashtag there. This is not a Twitter hashtag or anything like that. This is just a normal color. Right, so we have a very, very dark background, primary, whatever. Right, now we need a light version of it, right? So let's go up. Whoa, this thing is way too small. I can barely see what's right, so copy that. Let's paste that in here. Yes, VS Code also can provide us with some color options too as well. I think we should use that. What do you guys think? Right, but it will affect whatever color is in here. All right. Now for the medium, let's see. This thing is way too small. Way too small. couldn't see shit stuff, right? Medium, let's paste that in there. Let's save that. So now let's access this background. Let's pick the medium, right, at the global stuff, right? So I want to set the body background color, and we are using style components, so there is a way to access all these theme colors, right? With by passing in a function to the template literal, whatever it is, right? So we have props, passing. So I'm calling it props because it's a component, right? It creates a component and passes in a bunch of props to the component. In this case, to pass a bunch of objects and values towards the function that we are defining inside the style here. Right, so you have props, then dot theme, as you can see. Yes, but there is no TypeScript stuff, so it doesn't know about any of these, right? And for now we can forgive it, and we will do the change later, right? So we have background primary, and we have well, I said medium, right? Okay, but VS Code is not happy about this, doesn't like it, right? So let's try and fix this as quickly as possible. So let's go to styled components. Let's say style components. Thing. So I can give us some information on how to get TypeScript to work with style components, right? Should be a TypeScript around here. Here we go. Alright, so it says install these. So if you're doing React Native, blah blah blah. Yeah, this one is one, right? So create a declaration file, right? And so somewhere in your project, and then put in all the default style types, right? That's quite simple, right? No, whoa, right? Okay, so let's create a declaration file, or let's call it what file do we call it? Style.d.ts, right? Style, right? Yeah, let's go by what they have. So I'm just gonna copy all this and get rid of the comments because it's not necessary. You don't need the comments. Usually I don't like placing a lot of comments in the code. It makes it too much, makes the code way too much, right? What I do is to try and name my functions, variables, and a whole lot of stuff to better, so that when you see it, you just understand what's going on, right? Maybe I'm not doing that really well here, but I'm definitely going to. That's what I intend to do. That. So we have background, primary, and the standard colors, right? So background. Why don't we do this, right? So colors, because maybe along the line we might have some different set of properties that we are passing, right? So we have background and primary, right? Then we can say it's of a certain like standards, right? Or I don't know, like let's say the color set, right? Or sub colors, I don't know. So primary is color set. Oh, come on. Right. And color set is, let's create an interface. Color set, it just has light, medium. Oh, whoa, string, right? And then dark. Yeah, so that's our color set. Let's save that, and hopefully it gets that property, right? Okay. This is not going away anytime soon, but oh, okay, we need to do the colors. Nice. So colors, background, primary, and then we get that, right? We save that, and did something happen? Did anything happen? Huh. Cannot read property background of undefined. Oh yeah, that's true. In the app, oh come on, in the app theme, yeah, it requires an object of colors, right? And you pass in the color theme, right? Let's say, let's save that. Nice. So we have our dark side. So you started with a dark theme, right? I don't know if this is a good idea or not, or whatever. Everybody to each their own leaf. Okay, now let's go to the text, right? I would like to do something here too, right? So we have style components default theme, right? So I would like to do this. So we have default theme. Doesn't it have some, oh yeah, it does. All right, now nice. So I'll create an object. Sorry about this. Right? So you have dark, it is of this set of colors, and then light is also a set of these colors, right? Yeah. So as you can see, it's telling us, dude, we need to get our colors here too as well, right? So primary, it's kind of a long process, but it will help. Oh, come on, to help in the long run. Okay, so we have next, we have the dark, and then we have medium, right? So I don't know, right? So now about the text, right? So we have the text. I think it would be better if we did lighting, but nope, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue on with the dark side. Okay, so we have backgrounds, then now we come to what the text. For the text, should we also have a color set? I mean, taking a closer look at it, if a text can be white, well, in this context, it can be white, dark. Yeah, basically just those two colors, right? Yeah, so we have a primary text color, right? But let it be a color set. Yeah, let it be a color set. Good, it will be useful, right? So we have primary. Oh, come on. We have a primary color, which, so text primary. So what the primary color? So we have the dark. So this is for the dark theme, right? So that will be dark. So you don't really care. It's just going to be dark, like dark, real dark. Right? Medium would be grayish. Let's see. So medium would be, because of the backgrounds. Well, not really, no. Let's see around here. Right. Let's just copy that. Oh, what the? Right. Then change this back to the 000, and then for the lights side, so primary lights. Oh, come on. So you have the lights. Then let's see. Let's say it's this. Right. It's gonna be the same. Oops. It's going to be the same for the light theme too as well. Because it's a text. Maybe that could be a different color. Who knows? Right. Let's save that. And yeah. But anyway, so yeah, basically that's it. Let's tackle the theme colors on a later date. Right now, I just want to get some nice down. So I'm going to ignore that for now, and then start improving the design of some of these pages. Right. So first, let's get the heading, right? The public forum. I think we should get a better name for this application, right? This public forum is kind of not nice, not really beautiful, right? So let's say header, right? So let's call it style. Well, let's say header. Come on. So we have a header, very big header. Oh, right. So it can't find style. So import style. So we've imported style components, right? So it creates a header, and because of the button that we have next to it, right? So I'm just going to say display flex. Yeah. So display flex will make things be placed on the same line, right? On the same line. That's what we want. And then let's say we want to get some space in between them. So justify content space between. So justify content space between will just space things out, put them away from each other, right? And we want them to be aligned on the center, right? So in this case, I want them to be aligned properly, right? Aligned on the same line. It shouldn't be one over the other or something like that. That's sweet. Okay. So let's bring in our header. So as I said, style components just creates what? Components with these styles already in place, right? So as you see here, can grab these and then paste that in there, and you see how this will be styled in a short amount of time. Nice, right? So you can see it's moved away from each other. That's awesome. Okay, so kind of still not enough, so let's see, let's give it some colors, right? So some background color will do. Some background color of let's see, not really a big guy on colors, but how about a blue kind of color for now, right? Maybe we find a better color along the line. Alright, so we have a blue color. This blue is kind of bad anyway, so okay, let's go with a purplish of indigo kind of design. Should be light, dark. No. The main page is light, so let's make it a little bit dark here. Like this should do it. Alright. Now let's save that. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, but we can't see what's written there, so let's make the colors white. Now this color and color that we have here are two different things. One is for the background, one is for the text. As you can see here, right? Text. Alright, and let's give some spacing inside the box that we have there, right? So let's say from the top and bottom, from side to yeah, this is kind of okay, like, in my opinion. Yeah, but the font is horrible. The font does not look nice, right? So I'm gonna pick a font from Google Fonts. Come on, bro. Google Fonts. We having this. It's so go to Google Fonts and let's pick some really cool like fonts. Yes, that'll make it fit. Cito text. Open Sans kind of looks nice. Not the Sans too. Montserrat, nope, don't really think so. What font do you guys think would be very cool here? No need to Ubuntu, nope. Roboto Slap, Noto Sans. Nah, I don't need to worry myself about all these fonts. I'm just going to pick the one that looks kind of okay, I think. Let's go with Open Sans. I think this would be okay, in my opinion. Looking at how our application is, yeah, Open Sans would definitely go. Though it's not the most stylish, in my opinion, but yeah, it's good. So let's pick the regular. Ooh, yeah. Come on. So yep. So all right. So fonts, Google APIs, this Open Sans. Yeah, let's get that. So with this, we can just simply add it to our global style. The very top. Paste that in there, and then grab this. Right, for everything. Body, blah blah blah, everything. Let's make it that way. All our fonts will be of this, and then box size and two will be of that. Right. Yeah. Let's reload. Oh, nice. Much better. Much better. All right. Okay. Let's go to app theme. Oh no, I don't need an app theme for now. So we've dealt with the header. Now for the button. Let's make it a little bit nicer. Right. So instead of using the name button, right? I like to use an icon instead. Oh, come on. Right. So let's go to font. Awesome. Usually that's why I use my icons, right? So I have a nice icon for the button. So I click on plus and then you can add your form. Okay, so let's see. Oh, let's get some fonts first. Let's start for free. I mean, come on, we are not write this git code thing. Oh, they do have an npm package for that. That's nice. Let's do that. But I really don't want to be installing a lot of packages in this project. It's just a small amount of it, right? Our CDN part, blah blah blah, makes changes without ever pushing code or anything else. Okay, so let's see here. Let's grab the. So we have to enter our email, right? This kind of is really annoying with font awesome. Come on, man. All right, I do have an email. Oh, email is already taken. Anyway. All right. Whatever. I'm going to find a different way to get these icons. So let's go and use a npm. Where is it? Yeah, let's use npm. Start using a project. Nope, not this. Let's go to npm and let's see. All right, so npm install this one. Okay, let's get that. Let's paste that in there and let's go. Let's copy. All right, it's installing. Wow, this installation takes a long time. Is it because no, I don't think so. All right, so it's installed. Yeah, it's still installing anyway. So there's for the pro version, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay. Alright, so if it's installed, the next thing. Okay. So font awesome free at font awesome, blah blah blah, whatever. So let's see. I don't know. Font awesome. Font awesome free. I really hope this one has some TypeScript. Oh, no, they don't. Oh, no. Let's see. They have types. I really hope they do. And add. Oh, damn, they don't. Okay, there's gonna be a bumpy ride. Anyway, give me a second here. Let me see if I can access it from another angle. I'm pretty sure I could. Let's see here. Alright. Okay. This better work. Hopefully. Yes. Alright. Okay, I think. Alright, so font doesn't let them work, so let's get it out of the way. I will also remove the package because it's kind of, useless it being there. Right, so let's create a folder. I think I have a public. Let's rename that. Let's fix that. Let's move public out, and let's get these files in there. Awesome, right? I do have one somewhere. Right. So it's a CSS file, and have to okay, so we have to import the CSS file. I think, no, we don't have to import it. We only need to access it in the documents, right? That's gonna be tedious. All right, so let's find a different method. Right? Wait a minute. This is fonts, right? So I created a public folder in which NextJS will also include that in is it called a static files or something like that. Yeah. So it will include us. So I think I could do this. Right, so let's import. I really hope this works. Right. Then that's index.css. Let's see if it will work. Let's go to localhost. Let's inspect console. Oh, okay. Oh, that's too bad. But who cares, right? We should have our icons available. I do have a CSS file containing all those icons. So anyway, they said we shouldn't use this kind of imports, right? So let's ensure that this works. Or better, let's actually do this. Let's try it. I think this should have some render functions, something like that. Yeah, it does. And it has to return a bunch of stuff, right? And I think import some stuff from next. That's it. Yeah. So the next head. Wait, let's go back. There are some stuff that is needed. Nope. Let's actually go to the documentation itself. And let me get rid of font awesome, right? Because now that we are going to be using the link, this one is not necessary. Alright, so let's see here. Let's get this out. I think it's the next head. Oh no, this just does that, right? Should be at the documents. Basic features. Oh, okay, pages, I think. About page, pre-rendering. Maybe we could also do some pre-rendering, but that will be very later in the future. Right. server side summary. Not really getting what I would like to see. Layout. Yes, this one static file. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so you just put some files in there. I'm trying to look for this like the documentation on the document folder. Let me just search for the document instead of wasting time searching. Oh, come on. What is all this? Come on, it's not even. Next config. That it? Nope, this is not it. Let's check out advanced features. Oh, it has. Yeah, here we go. Nice. Yeah, this is what I wanted, right? So we need to grab the next document, right? So not from head there, but from HTML to see HTML head and main. Then we have the next script. Yeah. So I simply just copy all this and don't have to run around creating all this stuff. Nice. Right. So inside the head, I like to place a bunch of tags. One would be a link to the so inside of the global, we're just gonna grab that, paste that in here, and then have another link to our CSS file. This will be an index to CSS, right? So I can get rid of these two, and let me close this. But same as the app, the underscore app.tsx file, we need to restart the server for it to get the full effect. All right. So everything it is. Okay. Compiled. Oh. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Oh, we didn't save this. That's too bad. That's weird. Yes. Isn't our fonts properly installed? Like that. Let's check our head again. So we have the link to the head. Then we have our CSS. Yeah, there was no errors. And yes, it is imported, right? Because the font, yeah, the font is actually, yeah, right. And let's see, font size. This is one rem to make things a little bit bigger. Yeah, much better. Okay, so our icons are definitely imported. That's fine. All right. So now I want to change this button of add post to just wait, what? Sorry. Okay, so now we can just get our icon. Now our class name FAS FE I think it's plus, shouldn't it? Yes, it came nice. So we have our icon of plus, right? Now we can style our button to our heart's content, but before that, let's put this in some kind of h1, right? So we have, oh, that's big, right? So let's give it a title, right? So we are going to style the h1. Well, no, that. So it's quite big, which is what we want, but the margin is annoying, right? Yeah, the margin is annoying, and the font size, let's reduce it a little bit. So let's say 1.2. Oops, that should do it. And let's move to the top and put it as a title. Save that. Nice, much better. Right, so now let's start our button. Let's call it post button, post BTN, right? Come on, style dot button. So we have a post BTN. First, let's get the outline none. Let's get rid of the border because there is a border around it. Let's get rid of the background, nothing. So I'm styling this button over here, right? But let's give it a color of, let's inherit, right? So we are going to inherit the color from the header, right? Yeah, that's much better. And I want to have some kind of border radius too as well, right? So let's say the border radius, so I want to make it like a circular pattern, right? But not seen, right? So 50%, the width should be a little bit, I think 30 pixels, the height 30 pixels, right? Should make it a little bit more responsive. We'll do that in a bit, right? So let's get that, paste that in there. Let's go. All right, so we have our button styled weirdly. Let's increase the font size a little bit, right? So let's say 1.12. All right, so that'll be a little bit better. Not too much, but good enough, right? Let's make it a nice look, more interactive as a button when you hover over it, right? Make it more buttonish. Yeah, more buttonish, right? Now when we hover over the button, we want some light background to be there, right? So to indicate that you can actually interact with the button, right? So let's give it some hover, right? And so hovering over it, you want some background. I really wish CSS had some way in which we to alpha these kind of colors, right? The hexadecimal colors. Oh, come on. What am I doing? All right, let's get that. Man, so we save that and make some changes to it. Make it a little bit light. What the? Can I move my hands? Make it a little bit light. Save that. Aha, there we go. As you can see, yeah. So make it a little bit interactive. So We click on that and we have this. Click on that. Now let's say you want okay, that's by the way. Now let's move on to more interesting stuff. That's posting the posts themselves, right? These little ones, right? So let's say, so the first one is the wrapper themselves, right? How do we want our post, right? So I want the post to be some sort of like cards, right? So you have a card here, you have a card here, you have a card here, or something like that. That you could click on it and know what the heck is going on, right? Okay. But so it being a card, I want all of them in some sort of layout, right? And in one of the videos that I did, should have a link. I'll add a link to it in the video description later on, right? In which I did a layout of a grid, right? So all the elements in there were in grid-like shape, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do now, right? So let me create a component, right? It's called grid. Let me say posted forum grid, posted forums grid or something. I don't know. Let's say a grid layout. Let's say a grid. Start, but this is way too generic as well. It's not really going to give a lot of information, right? So I'm going to say display grid, right? So you have a grid display, right? And then you want the elements inside of it to follow a particular pattern, right? So I'm just going to say sorry, right? So we have a grid template columns, right? So it's a grid, right? So it will be how many columns, right? Let me write this one down and then I'll explain what I'm actually doing, right? So auto fit, right? Min max, then let's see 200, no 300 I think pixels, and then 1 fr. Probably have to change this to yeah, let's change it to probably 30. All right, so this long CSS that I've written over here is just stating that I want to repeat the columns, right, per this properties that we have in there, right? So auto fit, so it will first check the amount of space left for that cell or for that particular item to fit in that grid, right? Then to take up that space. Then the next property is the min max, right? So the minimum and the maximum amount that I want that particular item to take shape in, right? So the minimum here would be 30 RMs, right? So it means that when it reaches 30 RMs, it will not go lower than that. It will stay at 30 RMs, right? And the max of 1 FR, meaning that you don't really care how much is left. You just keep on taking that space, right? So it will keep on doing that as it sees fit. Right, so we have a grid layout and going to paste that in here. Let's get that out of the way. Let's paste that. So we have a grid, and let's see what happens on this page. Oh, that's interesting. All right, let's check. Let's inspect. Right, so we have our grid and our items. Okay. So 30 RMs. Let's see if I can reduce that to, let's say, aha. So you can see as I keep on reducing the pixel width or whatever that the minimum space it should take, you can see that the other elements move to their other side, because the space that this one accommodated, like the minimum that it took, it had already reached that. So the other one could come on the next line and continue to fill up the rest of the space, and that's because of the auto fit, right? So fit here, so move things to uh, fit all the rest of what the space, right? Yeah. So if I had increased the width, so let's say 25, you can see that this minimum width is supposed to be 25, so any less than that it won't work. So then move the element to the next position in the grid, right? Yeah, so that's, so I'm just gonna put it around 20 to have a nice looking colors, right? And the good thing about this is that it's responsive. So at any what width of the web of the browser, or whether it's on a mobile phone, a tablet, or a TV, it will have like a perfectly spaced out what elements. Yeah, and that's very very cool with CSS scripts to be able to do something like that. That's very awesome. Right? Now let's go on and style the actual posts themselves, right? Oh, come on. So we have these ones here. Right. Okay. So let's style the post. So let's give this post item. Let's rename this to something a little bit more better than grid layout, right? Posts. Right. Let's say it's post, right? And then post item, right? Style.div, right? And how do we want our post to look? Well, simple as I would say is centered, right? So, well, no, not centered, but spaced out, right? But first, let's give it some kind of background, right? Because this is not looking nice. Okay, let me say a white background, but I'm going to make it a little bit grayish to separate it out from the rest of its items, right? So paste that in there, right? All right. Okay. So as you can see, it's putting all the things together, right? But we want some space in between each of the elements. So let's give it a gap of, let's say, 2 hours. Give it a little bit of gap. So there, a nice looking gap, right? But it's still bunched up to the edge of the screen, so we want to keep some pattern of 2 areas. Right? I know the style is horrible. We'll improve that later. Nice, right? Okay, so back to the rest of the styles. So this is the post alias, right? Come on. So style dot b. Let's say yeah, let's give it a paragraph. And let's say nope, no, let's be a small, right? And I'm a little bit conflicted over here whether it should be a paragraph. Whatever, let's leave it at that for now. But now for the post itself, right? Let's give it a post content, right? Post style dot paragraph. So definitely a paragraph. Come on. Start post content. Start dot the paragraph. Right. Then we don't really want a margin around it, right? So get rid of the margin. So always for the normal p tags there is a margin around it. So you can get rid of it. Okay. Now we have the post content. Let's paste that in there. Where is it? Nice. We have the post content and then the post alias, right? Or the one who posted it. I don't know. Where we can name something. Knows, right? Okay, so you can see the post is there. Let's give it a little bit of space to the bottom. Right, so okay, 0, and then let's say so 0.75. Give it a little bit of space. Let's put a space around the entire content itself, depending of when you run. Much better. And let's give it a border radius as well to look a little bit more modern, a modernized UI design. Yeah, but it's terrible. Right now it's terrible. Yeah, but I'm not worried about that. Anyway, we are wasting too much time on this style, and we will take one day and make the application look way lot better, right? And yeah, or do some designs in Figma and bring them over here. That's nice. Okay, I'm not going to worry myself about the styles that is down here. I'm just going to continue on with the actual application logic, right? So the next thing that I want to do is when we click on any of these posts, I want to go to a separate page with the post what information there, right? And at that page, others could also make posts or make comments to that post, right? Yeah. So let's get that on there. All right, so first so now we don't know if it's clickable or not, so but we are going to make this a little bit better so I know that you can click on it, right? So let's have a cursor. Oopsies, the cursor, we have a pointer, and then when it's hovered, right? So it's when it hover over the item, right? I want it to have a small box shadow or some shadow behind it, right? You see that it has been raised up, right? Maybe you should try a neomorphism design. I don't know, I'll try that later, right? So I have a box shadow. Shouldn't go to the side. Just raise up a little bit. Right, so let's see, 8 pixels. Then yeah, 0.15. Right. Bam. Right. So let's see. Yeah. So we have some shadows. Let's make this background white. Right. So if we make the background white, let's I don't really want to use a border, but in this case I might have to use a border to RGBA of 0, 0, 0.1, barely visible. First, yeah, we'll make that better in the future or something like that. maybe instead of a border, let's have a shadow here, and this one will be very subtle shadow, right? Barely noticeable. Right? So barely noticeable. Yeah, this is a lot. Oh, come on, mouse. Yeah, better. Okay. So now let's add the functionality of when you click on any of this, it navigates you to the next page, right? All right. But before we could do that, we first need to create that page. Now, we'd like to, so in order to create that page, first you will need to, and we want to pass in whatever ID of this particular post is to that page through the URL, right? Simply because we could share that page to URLs, to social medias, all that good stuff, right? So we want to go by this, right? So create a new folder. So I want to structure the components a little bit better, right? So when it comes to pages, then we have posts, right? Then we have a file here called this is id.tsx, right? So this square brackets id that we have here is telling NextJS that this page is expecting an id, right? Is expecting an id inside its parameters, right? That we can use to access this page, right? So I'm going to show you guys in a minute here. So first, let me create the component. This is too long. Let's use look. So let's say it is a post, post template, because this component is already in there. So we save that. So we have a post template, right? And now let me get rid of this. Okay, sorry. So all right. So first, in order to access that page through this web page or through form is two methods. One, you can use posts. You can use the link component from Next.js, or you can use the router component, right? But in this case, I would like to use the link component, right? The use router hook, sorry, not the link component, right? So next, let's write link, right? So we have our link, and then when we are rendering these components, right, we want to make them linkable. So a link, right? Yeah, and that reminds me, yeah. So we have our href, and then we say it should go to what post slash. Then over here is where we pass in what the post ID. Right? So in this case, it will be post dot ID. Now, when you are using the link component, the child component should be the anchor tag. I don't really understand why, but Next.js requires it to be that way. Right? So we're going to change this to an anchor tag, and then just simply say display block, and then get rid of text decorations, right? Because to add some decorations, we don't care. Decoration. I think none something. I don't know. Right. Let me close. Right. that should make the pages linkable. Okay, it's reloading over here. That's fine. Right. Okay, so click on that. Nice. So it took us to a page, and then when we check in the URL, let me copy that. Yeah, here we go. So you can see the ID of the post, right? So whatever. So now we have access to that, but we first need to actually get access to it inside the component itself, right? Oops. So that's where the use router hook comes in. Right, let's import from next router. Yeah. And then we have the use router hook. So we have the use router. And it provides us with a bunch of functions and properties that makes use of the routes of the component, right, or the query or something like that. I don't know. So let's first get the data, right? So that's in the query, right? So console.log query, and let's check the logs. Interesting. All right, it's kind of rearranging this. All right, so it is an object. So query is an object with an ID, right? I don't know if we don't have text. All right, so we first need to get this one, right? So we can get post ID from query ID. Right. So now we have the post ID. So now we have the post ID. We can use it to access Firebase, right? We can use it to access Firebase, right? So get React.use effect, and since Firebase is a side effect of our application, since it doesn't exist inside of the components or the application in itself, we first need to we need to place that into the use effect hook, right? And then pass the post ID, right? And now we need to access where is it, this Firebase object, right? This particular Firebase object, and we don't want to be doing initialize all over the place, right? So I'm going to create a new module or utility inside a common folder, and then have Firebase access from there, right? So let's create a new folder. Let's call it Firebase, right? Come on. So I can access Firebase from there, right? So common Firebase, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's not really doing anything much, just access more Firebase, right? And let's see, so Firebase net I'm sorry, TS Firebase, no. Okay, let's do it this way, right? Firebase app. Yeah, this would do. Okay, then we grab that, paste that in there, then grab these two guys, then paste that in there, and then let's import this Firebase config. Whoa, it's not a function. Wait. Alright, so yes. Okay. Now we export default firebase. So now we export this particular firebase object, and then we come in here and then import firebase from our common firebase app. Right. Then everything should still work, not really getting any errors. So you can just let me close this up, then come in here. Come on, sorry, and paste that in there. Yes, this one is inside other folder, so we do it that way. All right, and then let's have, so we can access firebase dot firestore. Obviously, then we have collection of posts. Then the document that we want to access is post ID. Wait, what? It is of a type string. Wait, okay, so if so, oh come on. So if the type of post ID is not equal to string, then don't do anything. Right? So we require it to be a string. Right? And all that we are going to do is to get the post. Right? There are options in here. Right? Could that be useful? No, it's not useful. So then so we get a snapshot of the post, right? Which would be a snapshot dot. Obviously we have the ID, so we are only interested in the data itself, right? So we get the data, right? And we have a post. So we get a data, right? But now we need to type this data, right? So we need to get this post data in there, in here, right? So I'm gonna create a type, a common type file, right? So let me call it types.ts, right? And then grab all the posts that I have here, and then export that. Maybe this is not a forum after all. It's gonna have vibes of tweets and stuff like that, but hey, who knows? Maybe it could turn into something else. Alright, so we save that. Then we come to our post templates, right? And then ensure that this post is a type of post, right? No, this one is a post omit, right? Because there is no ID in it, but the ID is actually out. The ID is in the snapshot itself, right? All the IDs here. Okay, so we get a post, right? Then we need to show this post, right? So obviously, let's have a state. Do a react.use state, right? And I'm going to make it a null for now, right? And then post or null. Yeah. Then we have post. Set post. Let's do it that way. So we have our snapshots. Then we set post to be ID will be a snap. The snap. Actually, we don't even need to put ourselves the ID. Snapshot.id. And then have our post. post is this way, and then do it that way. Yeah. All right. Now so in case there is an error, right? So we want to catch that error. Reason, let's say, okay, in this case, I'm going to use a reason. Who knows? Maybe something could happen. And then I want to show up. First, we need to get a notification, right? So use notification. First, we are using a notification, right? Then we have the come on, show error notification, right? So show error notification. Then we have our reason, and probably it has a message. If not, then we just say cannot get post, right? Yeah, but okay, yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. So we get our post, and let's show it, right? So if there is a post, we simply just go by showing the title of the post, right? So let's say an H1, right? The post dot post and who posted it, right? So we can have an H5, right, of the post dot alias, right? Okay, so we save that. Missing info. Makes the application bigger without a good reason. This is quite an interesting error, but hey, anyway, we'll handle that later. Right. Okay, so we can see that our post is here. So if I were to go back to the previous page, I get all my posts. It shows, oh yeah, the key property, right? That's very, very important. So let's grab the key from here and move it up here. Yeah. So we have our key. So now we can check a new post, right? So we have the new post, right? Okay. Now let's add a feature of comments for a post, right? Comments for a post, right? And we could do that by adding a collection called comments for each post, right? Yes, a collection for each post, right, which will be the comments for the post, right? So how do we add a comment? Is this, so the comment will be the same structure as we had for the adding of a post, right? The alias and the post itself, right? So but in this case it will just be, right, and we to just be, so right, so we have the interface for adding a comment, right? So comment, so we have a comment, right? Then the comment will most definitely have an ID, right, to make it what, a unique ID. Then we have the, let's say the comment itself, right? The comment itself will be a pretty long string or something like that. Then finally we have the alias, right? Maybe we should make it like no, I would rather, no, I want it to be public, right? So maybe after designing this page a little bit better, for in the next video, in the next live stream, then we'll make the application public for everyone to what access, right? Yeah, and we see how the app works. Yeah. All right, so now let's add a post, right? So react.use state, and we adding a post is simply let's omit. It's simply a comment, right? But without the ID. So adding a post as alias is nothing. Comment is also empty string, right? So values, right? So set values. Right. Okay. So simply put, I'm going to create a form. I don't need the action of that form, right? And then have some inputs, right? So text, the name will be the alias, and the ID is also the same as alias. Right? Well, instead of just going back and writing all this down, you can just simply copy everything that's here and paste it here, right? And just simply make the necessary changes. Comment, that's it, comment, and then grab the functions there. Nice. Paste that in there. Right, so set post, that's the we don't need that. So the values is no. So comment. So adding the comment, right? So now if we want to add a comment, right? So we go to the same thing. Oops. Let's get rid of that. So firestore, the collection of posts, we go towards the post ID, then this collection of what? Comments, right? Comments. Oh, come on. It should be a type string, isn't it? Oh well. Let's put a check there. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Then the post should add a document to it, right? And then so it creates a timestamp of it. That's fine. Then set values of post. No. Right. Then we clear what's the comments. Right. So we have an alias, we have the comment, right? So I think I can add comment now. Should be able to add a comment. Right. So let's say this comment is from Portia, right? Portia. So the comment is from Portia and say, yeah, thanks for the post, right? And let's see what happens, right? So I should change this from post to comment, right? Okay, so we are able to add a comment, right? And it has gone in there somewhere, right, to the collection of this post, right? So to retrieve that, it will be the same procedure as we had here, right? The firebase, firestore, blah 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 blah, right? Come on, right? So we simply do some React effects, right? So we use effect, right? And let's get that. So pass in the post ID, right? And have this, ensure that the post ID is actually a post ID. Right, so we grab the firebase comments, right? So the post ID, so it will follow the same procedure as we have here, right? So the collection, then I'm simply just going to add this to it as well, right? So order by, we order it by the created at sorry, so that the latest comment is always shown first, right? Then simply just going to copy all this and then paste that in here. That's fine, right? So posts, of post, this one is not a post but a comment, right? So grab that as a comment, so new post. All right, so comments, right? So let's and also grab that in there. So react.use state, so let's say it's an array, right? And of comments, right? An array of comments. Let's grab that comments, set comments. Okay, so set comments. Nice. Can now retrieve comments. We will make a much better error messages in the future. But for now, this is some simple messages, right? So we get the comments of the post ID of the post, and then we show it, right? Let's say, let's have a section here. Let me try and structure this HTML a little bit better. So we have the header of the entire page. Get that, paste that in there. Yeah. So you have a section, you have an H2 or comments, right? And then we simply just look to the comments dot map. What was that? Interesting. Right, so we have a comment, and then grab show each comment, right? So we have a div, and we need a key, obviously, because it's React array, right? So comment dot id, right? And we simply just do a paragraph, right? Then we show the comment dot comment. Nice. And then we have the one who commented is comments dot alias. Nice. So when we save that and reload, nice. So we have our comments, right? Okay. So now we can add comments. Let's say David, and say thanks. So we add another comment, but it's not going to show when we load. It will show, right? Simply because we have not added the listener to it as well, right? So for that, let's go and grab this, right? It's simply the same thing that we are going to implement. I will most definitely have to create a hook out of that, because it's quite useful in both places like that. Right. So we paste that in there. So instead of post, we have comments, and change this comment available. Right. Actually, instead of comment available, we rather want to listen to the one who came here, right? So post ID, right? So post ID, right? So let's change that is post available, right? Simply because if there could be no comments for a post, but you might want to subscribe, and someone from somewhere will probably make a comment to it, and you can get that immediately, right? Okay, so we do that. So firestore, so over here we pass in what the post ID as well. Post ID. I really don't like all this checks I'm doing here, but I will make it a little bit better later on, right? So let's grab that and then paste that in there. What's happening? So we have a post ID, so collection documents post ID, right? And we get a collection of comments. Sorry. So this will be a comment, right? So added. So this will be a new comment. Right? So set comment. Oh, sorry. Comments. We have comments. So this one is, of course, will be a comment. Alright. So obviously nothing will change, hopefully. Then we save that. We grab that, and we have let's say law saying good good working. We make the post, and then last post is added. Nice, very nice. So if I were to go to the same post from a different place, and I'll say this one is made by St. John, and it says hi, I can make the post, right? And on this tab you also get that. That's awesome, right? That's cool. Okay, so we can now add comments to various posts, right? Okay. So I think I'll leave it here today. Let me go back for today. Then next time we will continue and add and maybe improve the design a little bit, and yeah, make the design improve the design a little bit, and maybe see if we could add any more features with it, right? So thanks guys for hanging around, those who were able to stay and then we got a few bits of coding stuff. I'll also make the code available on GitHub, right? So that if any of you would like to make contributions and stuff to the project, all be welcome. Right? Okay, so I'll end the stream on a high note of this has been a successful stream. We face most annoying issues and stuff like that. And yeah, and that's it, guys. Thanks a lot, and have a good day. Right. All right, guys. See you all later. Bye.